Dragon Ball Super really is what I feel helps this relationship and makes it rank very high for me. Because if we only had just DBZ to go off of, let's be honest, Vegeta was a jerk. Like, I talked about Goku being selfish, but he's a man-child. He kind of doesn't, he should know better, but he kind of doesn't. Whereas Vegeta was just, he did not care at all in Dragon Ball Z. If you go to that Cell saga, when Trunks asked him, why didn't you go ahead and save, you know, why he said, why didn't you go ahead and save Bulma, and, you know, and your son? He's like, you know, I really care about those androids or something like that. And it wasn't until you get to the Trunks death from Cell that Vegeta starts to finally change. And I love that going back into the fight with Goku the second time around, when he goes like, you know, he was the perfect warrior, cold and ruthless. He lived by his strength alone, uninhibited by foolish emotion. But then, slowly over the years, I became one of you. And what's his last thing he told Goku? Says, settle down, formed a family. I even grew quite fond of them. And that 7-year time skip is so important because remember, after Goku died, he said he lost the will to fight, which he obviously did fight, but man, it's like with Goku out of the way, you know, he really started focusing on Bulma and Trunks, and obviously when you look at the way they react to him, even before the whole Bobbity taking over him, they love, just like Linux was mentioning, you could tell Bulma loved him, and she was going through mixed emotions. Do I bring Vegeta back because, you know, this is the person that's become her husband over the 7 years, or does she not bring him back because he just did what, like double genocide on a massive amount of people? And I just thought that was some of the greatest emotion. And Linux has pointed out to me several times, and many others, Toriyama, when it comes to Toriyama, Vegeta really is the greatest character development you've ever seen. And you start to see towards the end of the Buu saga when, you know, when he's like, was it Elder Kai? He's like, so Goku bribing me with boobies? Kakarot, this woman didn't happen to be Bulma. Well, Vegeta, you idiot! There's no way that little Jesus is putting his tips on my Bulma! That was our first taste at that. And you see at the end of DBZ, he's there with Bulma, his new daughter Brawl, Trunks. Talk about having your whole family named after underwear, right? You gotta love that Toriyama puns. It is told to us towards the end of Z that, okay, Vegeta became a better person, but we never got to see it. That's what makes one of the best things in Dragon Ball Super so great, is Vegeta's character development. How poetic is it that in Dragon Ball Super, the beginning against Beerus during Battle of Gods, that Vegeta, all these years of training is not what makes him surpass Goku. But when the God of Destruction himself hits his wife, he becomes even stronger. While I don't agree with the logic of the SSJ form overpowering SSJ3, I thought that was really powerful. That is what made Vegeta in that moment stronger than Goku. Not his will to surpass his rival, but the will to protect his wife. That was so powerful for me. I really love that. And a lot too that I like in Super is you see Vegeta wants to make up for what he did with Trunks. Think about that, and Rebecca brought it up. Think about Vegeta when he wanted, even with the Tournament of Power, he's like, no, Kakarot, I'm not going. I want to be here for the birth of my daughter. You see, he realized, you know what, I effed up as a father the first time Trunks was born. I don't want to do it again for my second child. And he even took Trunks to the amusement park. He's just so much making up for what he was. And I just think the development, the big thing that separates Vegeta and Bulma versus Goku and Chichi is that Goku, as a family man, did not mature, not that much at least. Vegeta did a lot, and I think that's why it's an easy pickings for Vegeta to be up here. And like Liddy said, there's still more to be developed, and I think from an entertainment standpoint, like Rebecca mentioned, Gohan and Videl are vanilla, but I think when it comes to Vegeta and Bulma, you have arguably one of the most popular characters from the fighter standpoint, and one of the most popular human characters, because Toriyama has kept both these characters relevant, so it's like two of the most charismatic characters coming together, and I think that's why this has become the most popular couple in the whole Dragon Ball fandom. And I go back to that with Goku and Chi-Chi's relationship, is the fact that even no matter how many times Goku is gone, they still love him no matter what when he comes around. And I think that's the same thing can be applied to Trunks. Before Vegeta even hugged him once, he thought so highly of his father. You see it all. He's father this, he's like, my dad this, my dad that. And that's why I admit so much when he's like, you know, Trunks, I haven't held you once since the day you were born. And he hugs him for the first time. Just, man, good stuff. Yeah, so great. We can really tell that, I can tell among this panel that the Vegeta's character development and how it ties into what Bulma has really emotionally affected us all as Dragon Ball fans. I'll add on to, I do think Goku had a huge help in developing Vegeta as well, because everybody called him jerks. Goku was always the one person that never let Vegeta really get under his skin. I think Vegeta, Bulma, those two really saw the best, and you had Trunks. They all three saw the absolute best in Vegeta, and eventually, it took a long time, but eventually Vegeta reached the mountaintop finally, and just becoming a better person to what we saw today. It has been an absolute pleasure talking all the 4 main Dragon Ball couples with you all. I had a lot of fun with this discussion.
Yeah.
I hope you all have a lot of great time watching this or even listening to this, and hopefully it takes your mind off of what's going on in the world today. So hopefully we provided a great entertainment for you in this discussion. So this is the part where